Hey there folks. Welcome back to TMF-CRIME, the channel where we dive deep into the world of true crime. Today we have a shocking story that's going to leave you in disbelief. We're talking about the murder of Laquan McDonald. What you didn't know. So, grab your detective hats and let's get started. The case of Laquan McDonald revolves around the fatal shooting of a 17-year-old African-American named Laquan McDonald by a Chicago police officer, Jason Van Dyke, on October 20th, 2014. Police had initially reported that McDonald was behaving erratically while walking down the street, refusing to put down a knife, and that he had lunged at officers. Many people got very upset and angry about this because the police said McDonald was attacking them. But later, a video showed that McDonald was walking away from the police when he was shot 16 times by Officer Van Dyke. This made people protest and talk about how the police treated people differently because of their race. Background: Laquan Joseph McDonald, who lived in Chicago's 37th Ward, was a young man born on September 25, 1997. In 2014, he worked part-time in the Youth Advocate Program, earning $1,100. A teacher described him as respectful and reserved, emphasizing that he was not an aggressive individual. It was later discovered that toxicology reports showed the presence of PCP in his blood and urine during the police encounter, suggesting its potential influence on his behavior. On October 20th, 2014, Laquan McDonald was seen walking erratically and holding a knife in his hand. The police were called because he was reportedly damaging cars and had an encounter with a truck driver. When the police arrived, McDonald walked away from them. Initially, the public perception was shaped by the official police account, which stated that McDonald had posed a threat and had attacked officers, forcing them to use lethal force. However, this narrative was questioned by community activists and the McDonald's family, who believed that there was more to the story. Media coverage at this stage was relatively limited and largely followed the police version of events. It wasn't until the release of the dashboard camera video over a year later that public perceptions began to change, and widespread outrage and protests erupted. The shooting. The circumstances of the shooting were highly controversial because instead of immediately tackling the threat, Officer Jason Van Dyke opened fire, shooting McDonald 16 times in a span of about 15 seconds. This level of force appeared excessive, especially considering that McDonald was moving away from the officers and did not seem to be an immediate threat to them. After the shooting, the Chicago Police Department's response was to claim that McDonald had posed a threat to the officers and that the use of lethal force was justified. They did not release the video footage from the police dashcam to the public, and Van Dyke was initially not charged with any crimes. Video evidence played a crucial role in this case. The cover-up. There were significant efforts made to suppress the video evidence of the Laquan McDonald shooting. The Chicago Police Department and city officials faced allegations of a cover-up. They resisted the release of the dash cam video and withheld it from the public for over a year, citing ongoing investigations as a reason to keep it hidden. This delay in revealing the evidence raised suspicions of a concerted effort to protect the involved officers. Public officials and law enforcement personnel played a controversial role in this cover-up. There were accusations that they were involved in trying to keep the video under wraps, leading to skepticism about their transparency and integrity in handling the case. This lack of accountability from those in positions of authority eroded trust and increased public frustration. Legal proceedings. Following a request from Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan, the United States Department of Justice initiated a civil rights investigation into Laquan McDonald's murder and the practices of the Chicago Police Department. The investigation revealed a culture of excessive violence, particularly against minority suspects, and identified issues with training and supervision within the department. In response to the findings of the DOJ investigation, city officials and the Department of Justice entered into a consent decree. This decree outlines a plan for improving the Chicago Police Department and is overseen by the courts. It aims to address the identified issues, such as excessive force and poor training, to promote more responsible and accountable law enforcement practices. 3 Chicago police officers were put on trial for allegedly attempting to cover up events related to Laquan McDonald's murder. However, the Cook County Circuit Court found them not guilty on January 17, 2019. This verdict had its own set of legal and societal implications. Lesser-known details. Lesser-known details about the Laquan McDonald case include the fact that multiple police officers were present during the shooting, but Officer Jason Van Dyke was the only one charged initially. Activists, particularly those associated with the Black Lives Matter movement, played a significant role in bringing attention to the case. They organized protests and pushed for transparency and justice. Their efforts were crucial in pressuring officials to release the video and charge the involved officer. The case became a rallying point for activists advocating for police reform and racial justice. The Laquan McDonald case had long-term effects on policing and community relations in Chicago and beyond. Reforms and impact. The Laquan McDonald case spurred several reforms in law enforcement policies and practices, not only in Chicago, but across the United States. In Chicago, the city implemented new policies on the use of force, de-escalation training for officers, and improved officer accountability and oversight. These changes aim to prevent similar incidents and build community trust. Laquan McDonald's case had a broader impact on the criminal justice system. It highlighted issues of transparency, accountability, and racial bias within law enforcement. It also brought attention to the need for increased oversight of police conduct and the importance of video evidence in cases involving officer misconduct. This case contributed to a larger national conversation on police brutality, leading to increased scrutiny of cases and calls for police reform. Ongoing efforts for justice and reform in the aftermath of the Laquan McDonald case include continued advocacy by activists and community organizations. They seek to hold law enforcement accountable for misconduct and advocate for comprehensive police reform, addressing issues like the use of force, racial profiling, and oversight. Additionally, there have been calls for greater community involvement in police oversight and decision-making processes to help bridge the gap between law enforcement and marginalized communities. Conclusion. In this video, we covered the circumstances of the shooting, the suppression of video evidence, and the role of activists in bringing attention to the case. The case of Laquan McDonald serves as a reminder of the challenges in our criminal justice system and the ongoing struggle for accountability and justice. It highlights the need for open discussions on police misconduct, community relations, and reform efforts. In the end, the murder of Laquan McDonald was a wake-up call. It's a stark reminder of the work that needs to be done to ensure justice and equality for all. We hope that sharing this story sheds light on the importance of transparency and accountability in our justice system. Thanks for joining us on TMF Crime. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.